Hello, all, and welcome. I am Danelle Boyles coming to you from the United States, and I am coming to you from my first initiated live with a special guest today with Rayhan School, the Teachers Educators AI Institute. And today we are working on one of my tasks, which is to give a live interview on my tasking list of day 5. And so joining me today is Jana, and she's going to have to repeat this for me again because it's beautifully spoken, and I have been saying it incorrectly the whole time since I have met her. Can you please say your last name for us, Jana?
Okay, so my whole name is Jana Simonikova.
Simonikova. That's beautiful. I have had complicated last names in my lifetime through marriage. Moscovich was one of my first married names. And
it sounds like what, Serbian or
it's Israeli. Yeah.
it's Israeli?
But originally his family is Turkish Greek. And so, you know how it is whenever you have individuals that immigrate, they change spellings. And
Is it Moscovich?
yeah, it's Moscovich.
I'm sure we have this surname in Slovakia as well.
Yeah.
I have heard it.
No, but it's a pleasure to have you join me today for this first live interview. I have attended many interviews myself, as you have, but initiating is always a new beginning to some very interesting pathways. So I guess to get us started, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself? Just a kind introduction and
Yes, of course, Danelle.
Sure.
First of all, thank you very much for the invitation to the interview, and I'm looking forward to your amazing questions. And you described me as a special guest. I always describe myself as a very ordinary person. I'm 50 years old, living in Slovakia, in European Union. For many people, they confuse Slovakia and Slovenia. So Slovakia is former Czechoslovakia. If I mention Czechoslovakia, everybody knows, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is Central Europe. And I studied management of travel agencies in a beautiful spa town in Slovakia at Hotel Academy. And why? Well, you can imagine 50 years ago or 30 years ago, there was no internet here. I remember we had one phone in grocery store.
Wow.
And no internet, no mobile phones. So, I dreamed about traveling countries and visiting places which I only could see in magazines, in TV. So that's why I probably chose, management of travel agencies. I was hoping that I would travel a lot. But after studies, I actually moved to Czech Republic. And with all that new stuff coming, and I had to move there, and new city and new people, even though the language is very similar, still it was like something new. And I just took the first job I could. And it was in IT company, just administration. And I was hoping then later on I would move to some, travel agency. But then I got married, and then my kids were born. So I stayed for several years at home, raising kids, helping my now ex-husband in the company. We founded paragliding construction or production company, manufacturing, and we had also paragliding school.
Wow. That's amazing. So were you an active paraglider yourself?
Yes, I wasn't because
Oh,
because I'm not that person, you know.
it's a very adventurous hobby.
I'm very comfortable walking the ground, not
Mhm.
flying. But it was very beautiful experience to see other people flying, and it was amazing to watch them. Um, I of course tried once on tandem.
Mhm.
It was in winter. It was very cold out there, so I wasn't prepared very much. So I was freezing. So I didn't enjoy much that first
Mhm.
and last flight of mine. So, but it's interesting experience. I mean, you know. Well, after 20 years, I moved back to Slovakia. My parents needed some medical care, so I returned back. I was helping at home, and I remotely was working for telecommunication company and helping also in Rehan Foundation, mostly in the backstage, on the backstage. And this year, I finally was persuaded to join Rehan School and help with interviews and communication and co-facilitating some classes. So I'm just starting. I'm more seen on stage and doing interviews, um, which is not my thing. I would say I am a huge introvert, so
So
uh,
was it a big shift for you to adjust out
yeah.
of
And it
being
took me a
the
while to actually agree to that. I was
yeah,
asked for interviews for years. Yeah.
yeah. And so did you tend to shy away from doing them because of that at first?
I don't know. I somehow, decided
Mm-hmm.
that okay, end to procrastination and just, jump on it. And I just, stopped looking for excuses and just agreed to those interviews. And I made myself not to think about that
Mm-hmm.
much
So
and
if
just
you, after so much experience of shifting from the introverted to the extroverted part of that, what kind of advice would you have for an individual that was looking to move from one extreme to the other?
I wouldn't call myself extrovert. Um, yeah, I believe we are on scale, and introverts usually are overwhelmed with big amount of people.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but of course, there are conditions. If I find myself in a big crowd,
Mm-hmm.
which is focused on one place, that's okay for me. But if there is this interaction coming among people in different directions, it's kind of overwhelming to be part of that. Many introverts describe it that they just found themselves in some corner, of that. So it just exhausts a person, like an introvert,
Mm-hmm.
to be part of that.
It
It's
can, I'm
about
sure.
that
Yeah.
energy or something, and we are not like chit chat people.
Mm-hmm.
We communicate when we need to, when there is some purpose to
Yeah.
initiate some communication. So
Necessary necessity. So what
mhm.
is something that you learned that changed your perspective on that?
I always wanted to help around school students, because I understand, if I ask around me, if I ask my friends, they kind of don't want to do this, do the interview. So um, I wanted to help. They didn't have probably much strangers wanting to give interview to people to students, kids from Pakistan. So I that persuaded me that, oh, I need to help, because I was asked too many times, and
Mm-hmm.
for a long time. So I have to really jump on it and
Yeah.
start doing this, start
So
accepting invitations.
it was your humanitarian heart that won you over, that made you decide
Overcame that. Yes.
to step in and change that about your perspective of doing the interviews. I like that. I
And
feel like
you never know actually. If you don't do something,
mhm,
you can watch it 1,000 times, but if you start doing that,
mhm.
it's yeah, it's totally different experience, and we learn that, oh, that's, I'm benefiting from it. So
I feel like I can relate to that part along with you. That's kind of the same reasoning that I stepped in and started doing it because it really helped being an English educator. I did classes, and so knowing that that benefited, the interviews benefited the students. So I can really appreciate that about you. Um, if you
thank
could magically gain a new skill overnight, what would you choose?
Oh, skill over the night.
You could just
um,
have the ability to do, what would it be?
you know, several times in my life I had a dream to fly. I was actually flying without glider, without anything, just, I was able to fly, and these were the most amazing dreams. It was a long time I had it last time, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that would be amazing. And skill, like, there are so many things we would like um, to have,
Mm-hmm.
but which one to choose? Like, one, it's, I have always difficulty to answer these questions. Like, students ask me, what is that the most one thing? And I have so many things in mind, like, I
Absolutely.
don't know.
Being able to fly it's a very good one, especially in relation to your experience with paragliding. You've experienced flying,
Yeah,
but
but
being
whatever you
able,
think about the
oh,
skill, like, superpower,
mhm.
I always think about, like, what is the downside to it? Like, what is that
Mm.
cost? What is that catch?
Yeah.
Which, for example, I was like, it
What's
would
the
be
trick?
nice to read the people's mind,
Mm.
right? But it would be horrible, actually, after some time, to be
Yeah,
able to read the people's mind.
especially, I mean, as long as you could control it.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
As you,
Um, so I guess probably one of the other questions that I wanted to ask you was about your hobbies. Do you have hobbies that you appreciate in your spare time?
yeah, that's interesting how it changed through the life. When I was a kid, I was reading books. That was probably my hobby, which I was like engaged, like every day. Every day I was. Once the school introduced us to library. I was there like every week and borrowing like 10 books and reading at home. And yeah, well, there was no internet and smartphones, no YouTube, so it was
Right.
easy. So I was just, yeah, reading books or playing outside with kids or helping parents in the garden. But the reading books was probably the most um, important hobby for me at
Mhm.
that time. And when I was a teenager, then it was music. Then it turned to be music. And, after um, when my kids were born, mm, I didn't have time for hobby.
Oh,
Later on,
the sacrifices
actually,
we make.
I started to learn Japanese language.
Oh, wow.
It was so interesting, but I didn't continue because after 3 years, we started to learn kanji and use kanji in that education, and it was too much for me to continue. So I stopped. And I like to swim. So today probably it's just swimming, going for a walk, or listening to podcasts. And yeah, I would like to go back to books so much.
Mhm. So if you were
Physical
to,
books,
sorry.
physical books, not audiobooks. I would like to return back to physical books.
Yeah, I always say that myself too. I was a very avid reader when I was younger, and it has fallen away, you know, as I
But
got
with
older.
all
Mhm.
this internet, we learn how somehow to multitask, and many times we are watching TV and we just jump on the phone and watching TV and doing something else. So
Getting the technology.
it feels like hands are empty. And when I'm reading the book, it just feels almost like wasting time. So I have to change it somehow to
Mm.
that
It's a
attitude.
shame we have our minds trained to have that need to fill
Somehow
this.
damaged the focus, maybe a little bit,
Yeah.
or changed. I don't want to use the word damage, but changed our focus.
Yeah, it altered. It's been altered. Yeah. Well, I think that's probably about all that we have time for today. Um, I greatly appreciate your time that you took to have this chat with me and to share some of your personal experiences and life with us. It's very interesting. I would love to get to know you more. Um, but is there anything else that you would like to share? Any words of wisdom to anyone who's watching before we sign off?
With all that artificial intelligence coming, it's like words of wisdom is like obsolete, kind of, especially for younger people.
Mhm.
Um, so, but I like to, when the life is overwhelming, I kind of like to go up the ruins which we have in the village.
Mhm.
And when I see the land below me and I'm there alone, it almost feels like I'm above all the problems. And it's like same feeling when you see the planet Earth from the space, and you just see, how small we are and how small all the problems are. we we
Yeah.
like face everyday small problems. It's just um, so sometimes it's good to zoom out from our life and everyday problems and just
I like
yeah.
that. Take time to zoom out. I would like to point out that we have a lovely rainbow that has joined us here on the side of my neck.
Oh
For
yeah.
good, yeah, must be for good luck.
Must
Thank
be.
you so
Yeah.
much for that. And I do. I really like that perspective. Take time to zoom out. It's a necessity in daily life. All right. Well, we're signing off for now. Until next time, everyone, do well and be well.
Thank you.
Namaste. Thank you so
Have
much,
a
Jana.
great day.
Thank you. Bye.
Goodbye.